I think. Let's give it a second here.
It says it's
Preparing
being
live
live
stream.
streamed, so you're good.
What's that?
It says it's being live streamed on YouTube.
Oh, good. All right, cool. I just don't see it on actual YouTube yet, but there it is. Now we're live streaming. Okay, cool. So we're all set. Yes. All right. Like I said, it's been a little bit since we've actually done a public webinar ourselves. So really excited to be here. And you know what? I think I forgot one other thing. I need to attendees can chat with everybody. There we go. I forgot that one because I see a bunch of stuff popping up in the Q&A box. All right,
Yeah.
there we go. So busy doing YouTube. The chat window now works. So in the chat window now, if you could let us know where you're from and what you teach, that would be fantastic. And we are going to go ahead and get started because now we're a minute late because I don't know what I'm doing. So, all right. Well, welcome everybody to our session here today. Just as a quick reminder, if you do have any questions or thoughts as we go throughout the webinar today, please put those into the chat window. We always like to see what's going on and what everybody's thoughts are. I think Katie is here today. I think she was going to be here. So, yep, I think she's there. There she is. So Katie is with us as well. So she is going to be happy to help answer those questions. But today we are going to talk about documenting, growing, and reflecting using portfolios with Book Creator. All right, so using Book Creator as a portfolio tool. And so we're really excited to get going here. So let's start off with some introductions. Janet, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, everybody. I am Janet Burnett. I'm a teacher success manager here at Book Creator. I'm the southern piece of the Book Creator team. As you can hear, I'm located in Alabama, and it's chilly down here in Alabama. Normally, we are a little bit warmer than everybody else, but not this week. I am a lifelong educator myself. I just retired last year after 26 years in the classroom. And so I had used Book Creator in my own classroom for about 10 years and with teachers in my district. So now I get to share the goodness of Book Creator with teachers all over the place, and I love it. So thanks for
Oh,
being here.
all right. Thank you, Janet. And I did see one question about recording. It is being recorded live. Janet, I don't know what is. I got like a weird echo here. So let's see if I can figure that out. I'm going to mute Janet for a second. Janet, I don't know what it is. I think for some reason it's us between you and me. But anyway, before we go on to introduce Catherine, I did get a question about the recording. This session is being streamed live, but that also means that the recording will be on YouTube later today or tomorrow. So please, make sure you check YouTube and you'll be able to get that. All right, Catherine, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine Frank, and I'm also another teacher success manager. I am located in Chicago, and I work with districts in the Central and the West Coast regions. I've been with Book Creator for 5 years now. I absolutely love my job. Before Book Creator, I was in the classroom for 9 years. I'm really happy to be here today.
All right. And last, I am John Smith, for real. I am the Senior Teacher Success Manager here at Book Creator, which basically just means I've been here for a long time, 7.5 years, part-time, full-time. So really excited to be here with everybody today. Taught special ed for 12 years and then was a tech integrator after that. And now here at Book Creator. So really excited to be sharing our topic today, which is documenting, growing, and reflecting with portfolios. And so as we're talking about using Book Creator as a portfolio tool, I have to think back, all right? Because again, I'm old, so I have to think back about maybe the history, right, of notebooks and portfolios and things like that. And so I did a little bit of studying up on this, and I went back and found our nice little timeline. And it was really cool to see that I didn't realize this. A paper was invented way back in 100 BC, right? And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Way back in China in 100 BC. And then the first paper mill didn't actually come to North America until 1690, right? And I was like, wow. So like if we're thinking about portfolios and we're thinking about, notebooks and things like that, paper was a big part of that for a long, long time. Patent for paper wasn't even awarded until 1770. And I like this, 1800, Lewis and Clark, right, exploring North America. And that was probably the first known pocket diary, right, or notebook, or maybe even a portfolio of what they learned along the way. And so I thought this was kind of cool. We keep going through history. I'm not going to read through all of these, but 1978 was the beginning of my downfall because that is when the Trapper Keeper was introduced. All right. And so I am old enough to remember the Trapper Keeper, and I had a Trapper Keeper in probably every design and every color imaginable. And I think it was interesting because it was like designed to make your organizational skills better. Yet at the same time, I probably started developing back problems, right? Because I had to carry 12 of these around in my backpack, right? So it was not a good thing. I see Elise is in the house today. Yes, Trapper Keepers, right? So I had so many Trapper Keepers. Moving along, we get Paper King, we get Lisa Frank notebooks, which I still don't know what that is, but I keep putting it in there anyway. And then we get the Meads 5-star, the Moleskin, right? All of these really cool notebooks. And to me, nothing really exciting happened until around like 2015. And that's when the Rocketbook came out. So I don't know if anybody knows what a Rocketbook is, or if you've ever had one. But I backed them on Kickstarter, and it was really cool because it was the first time you could take a paper notebook, write in it, scan it, send it somewhere, and then you stuck the book in a microwave with a cup of water, and you nuked the microwave or the notebook, and all the stuff that was in it disappeared so you could reuse the notebook. And I was like, this is really cool, right? Like I was like, this is really awesome. Until I found out that there was apparently a lifespan on microwaving paper. All right. And so I almost set my house on fire because I microwaved the notebook one too many times. All right. And so, I was like, oh my gosh, this isn't good. Right. Yeah, and leaving it in a car, right? Any hot, like, yeah, probably safer than microwave. Same result. All right. And so as we look at all of these ideas of notebooks and portfolio types of solutions in the past, what do they all have in common? In my mind, they're all boring. All right. Like with the exception of maybe the Rocketbook, which was pretty kind of interesting at the start. But not only are they all boring, I think we have an issue here because a lot of these have very little access for all students. All right. And that creates problems. And especially as a former special ed teacher, not being able to have the ability for all my students to show their learning and to understand, and it becomes an issue. All right. And so do we think that there is something out there that is better? And I think that there is. All right. And so we are going to talk a little bit about that and how we think that Book Creator could be the solution for you for notebooks and portfolios and really documenting that student learning. All right. And there are a few reasons why we think Book Creator is simply the best, or in this case, shrimply the best for access and motivation. And we're going to kick that off right away with our very first one, and that is organization. All right. And again, if you're a Trapper Keeper kid like me, and you remember those days where somebody gave you a new sheet of paper and said, you got to put this into your binder. You had to pop those metal rings. You had to flip the papers, hope they didn't get lost or blow all over the room, and find the right page to get it in. So how can we make things that are better? And I know that Janet and Catherine both have some really awesome examples and some thoughts on this. So Janet, we'll let you kick it away here. I'm going to unmute you, and we'll let you chat a little bit about your thoughts.
Yeah, so organization is definitely a high point in the classroom. It's just getting your kids to keep up with it. That's the problem, right? Like they are constantly losing it. Or I know that when I was in the classroom, they were shoving it in the back of their desk, and I would go to help them, and I'm pulling out just crumpled up papers everywhere. And so Book Creator really does change the game on this. Here we've got a couple of examples. Depending on what your content area, what your grade level is. The reading journal here is just an example that we kind of put together because we have these new page templates that are so exciting, over 800 of them, and they keep adding. So I'm pretty sure we're about to cross on over to a new point. But here, you are able just to kind of combine these. But here on this first page, you can see we've kind of made a table of contents. So within this reading journal, you're able to have your students work on fluency when you want them to guide them there, or have them reflect on their reading story this week, whatever it is. And a lot of these templates are just put in straight from our page templates that our team has done such a great job creating. Yet they really follow the content standards, not necessarily are customized to a specific book. So therefore it works for everybody, regardless of what reading level your students are on. So this is something that can really be flexible and be used, and you have the power as a teacher to choose what matches the standards you're teaching. But then it also allows that interactivity with the students and that creativity to come in. So when they remix this book, then they have the ability to go in and use all of our tools, whether it's adding a video to the page or those drawing tools or recording their voice. Whatever you need, it kind of just fits the bill there.
All right. Awesome. And Catherine, any other things to add to the organizational piece before I maybe show a little bit about how to do some of what we just said?
I think just exactly what Janet was highlighting. The best part is really being able to create that table of contents so the students can, you can have your templates organized as well as the student books as well.
Absolutely. So we're going to show you that right now. So organizing and creating that table of contents sounds kind of daunting, but it's not really that bad at all. And so all you have to do from a very simple level, you could do this with images, you could do this with text, you can do this with other items in Book Creator. But I'm just going to start with text. I'm going to choose a style and we're just going to say, you know, science. All right. So maybe there's a science part of my portfolio and I only want to focus on that right now. So I'm just going to make the word science. And then when I write the word, I'm going to highlight it and click the link button. And I'm going to link it instead of a web page, I'm going to link it to a specific page in the book. So if I said 22 and click save, you'll see that the word science is now underlined. I click done. And when you click on it, because I'm in edit mode, it's going to say open page. I go to page and then boom, there it goes. It goes right over to page 22. And what's really awesome about these links is that they're also dynamic. So if I were to change something, all right, if I were to change those where this page is linked, all right, so 22 is the science page. If I move page 22 somewhere else, and I go back later and click on science, it's not going to take me to page 22. It's still going to take me to the science page. All right, so this is really cool. So as you're adding evidence of learning, as your students are, you know, highlighting their successes, right, in their portfolio, it's going to be very dynamic, which is really, really powerful. And our templates that were mentioned up here under the plus button, under media and templates, like Catherine said, there's probably 1,000 of them at this point. I don't know. The new ones go in every day, it feels like. There are so many templates in here and so many different styles that you're definitely going to see a lot of great stuff, right? And I have to give a shout out to Katie Fielding, who's kind of fielding some questions there. One of the things that she said that kind of really stuck with me during one of our staff meetings was that when she looks at these templates, she doesn't necessarily look at them for what they actually say. She kind of looks at them for design. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that was like a mind-blowing moment for me because I was kind of like, every time I looked at it, I was like, oh, cool, hexagonal thinking. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to use it. Or, you know, books read, whatever. I like the designs, so I could change these into anything that I want, right? And so can your kids. So I absolutely love the easy ability to organize. And I do have an example of my daughter, one of her books in here. I'm not necessarily going to show it right now, but the reason I want to mention it is because Janet was talking about, you know, using it for, you know, photos and videos and things like that. My daughter it uses this as a way to document her fluency, right? So it's not a portfolio in the sense of like, here's everything I did in first grade, but specifically it's a portfolio documenting her fluency process, right? And her improvements. So I think that's super, super cool. Media, all right. Media is definitely one of the things at Book Creator. We love putting different media into our books. So Catherine, why don't you give us a little kickoff here on our media page?
Yes, that's one of my favorite parts of Book Creator is being able to add multimedia, not only for the students to add multimedia to the books, but also you as an educator can add multimedia to the books to make your templates really media rich. So if we want to click on the area adventure example right here, this is a perfect one. You can just click on the pages view if you want. And you can see that the teacher has added in the template, recorded a video for the students, they've embedded content, and they have areas for the students to also respond using multimedia. So I think that really, really pushes the creativity aspect and also brings that student voice into the classroom as well. And lastly, also giving them options of ways that they want to respond to their learning too.
Yeah, and I think that is probably for me one of the most important. So again, as a former special ed teacher, if I ask a kid to respond, but my dog, sorry, if the only way to respond is inside of this little tiny box, sometimes we may not understand truly what the student knows, right? Or what they want to share. But if we give them the opportunity to use things under the plus button, like the camera, video, drawing tools, recording their own voice, then we really do start to open up, the possibilities for those students. And Janet, I know this one right here, the Boston Tea Party, that one's one of yours. This is definitely one of my favorites. So if you want to give a quick shout about that one, let's go ahead for it.
Yeah, so I think it when people think of portfolios, a lot of times they're thinking about an end of the project or putting in your best work at the end. But this is more of a interactive notebook that goes along with a unit. So when I would teach the Boston Tea Party, this is an example of a book that I might use all week long and just use a page a day, but really it's going to be a collection of evidence of that learning journey all along the way. And one thing that is super easy to build and super powerful to build background knowledge is images, because it's not dependent on their reading level. Everybody can take away from images, and it's how we use that as educators that's really the cool part. So here we've just used a picture that we've seen time and time again over the years in our history books, but it's really asking the kids to climb into that picture. What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you feel if you're actually there that day? And then just simply providing a place on the next page for students to put in their answers. Every student having a voice is super important. And those accessibility features that John was showing just in our classic book creator tools are so powerful to give everybody that chance to give you a little peek about what's going on in their brain. And so as you flip through that, it's just page after page, all centered around the book, the Boston Tea Party. But here, for example, I had embedded the choice of learning from a video or from an article. And so it kind of gives that voice and choice, that interactivity again for students to take ownership of their learning.
Absolutely. And I love this, Janet. I think even more just because it really gets you to think about using Book Creator in other ways, right? And so a lot of times we think of it as like a project or a group activity or something like that. And I love this because, like you said, you can stretch this out over a course of a week or more or whatever. But I also love this because it gets me thinking that I can do this as like a whole group kind of activity. So you don't necessarily have to use Book Creator in the way that maybe you have in the past. You can use it like a group activity, use it as a teaching tool. So I think that's really cool. Now, Maria, I did see your question in the Q&A session. We're going to talk about that here in a second. The answer to that question is yes, for sure. And then the other anonymous question there was how many students can enter the free version? And the answer to that is you can invite as many students into your library as you want with the free version. The real limit is the number of books that you can make in that free library. All right, when that is 40. So keep that in mind as you're moving forward. But the other thing I wanted to mention just real quick here, Media Rich. So yes, we've got a lot of great tools under that plus button, like the photos and the video and the audio and all that cool stuff. But there are students who still like to draw with crayons and paper. There's still kids who like to build models out of Legos or clay or, things like that. And you can put that into Book Creator too, right? Which is really amazing because all you have to do is take a picture of it or a video of it and dump that into Book Creator. So that analog kind of learning is not lost either. All right. So it's really a great way, to collect all of that amazing thing, those amazing things that you are doing as a student. All right. Now, the other part I think that is really powerful about Book Creator is how you can make it interactive. All right. And one of our favorites, and I'm gonna take this book right here right away because I have a personal story that goes along with this one. So I love this one because when Randy, who is on our team now, made this book, she made this book about vowels, or I'm sorry, about vowels and vowel sounds and letter sounds. And so all she did was put some videos in here, some audio buttons, some really cool examples. But as you work through this book, then it becomes a little more interactive, like drag some letters into a bucket, right? And do that. And then over here, record your own voice sounding it out. Draw on the map, drag letters here and there. So many amazing activities to help students truly understand language, right? And the reason I love this and the reason I wanted to share this one specifically is because my own daughter, right? My own daughter was having some trouble with reading in class, and we started using these books before they were kind of available to everybody else, and everything just went through the roof, right? And I don't even know the actual context of the question, but like, what are the advantages of using this? So specifically this one right here, I love this because there's a lot of power in packaging. All right. And so a lot of the work that my kids see come home, black and white on a piece of paper, they got to answer the questions with pencils. And to be kind of honest, like, it's not that exciting to look at, right? And it's not that exciting to work through. But sometimes just taking whatever that is, because it's not necessarily bad stuff, right? It's not bad instruction, it's not bad content, but the package is wrong, all right? But if I bring that and kind of refinagle some of that in Book Creator, then it becomes really exciting, right? And the kids are like, oh, I love this. It's colorful. It's not black and white. I can drag and drop and I don't have to lose it. And I don't have to worry about my pencil breaking and all that, that kind of stuff. So I really love the power of packaging and how you can make these books interactive. All right, now there's another example here on a page. I don't remember who put this one in there, but I think it was Janet. I saw Janet smile and nod her head.
Yeah, I love this example. A book creator friend of ours, Dane, over in Georgia, created this for their kindergartners. And when I saw this example, I absolutely fell in love with it. If you go through here, he has embedded a little bit of content here in the power of a video. So even the littles can watch and learn in that way. But then he goes on to kind of create different pages. And he's using our 3D models that are available with one of our partnerships. And he actually asked them to use the knowledge that they learned in the video to identify the reptile. And so just by going in, they're able to click on it, like John's showing you here. They're able to kind of turn it around in all different directions and then compare those characteristics that they've just heard in the video to what they're seeing in these models. And then he actually asked them, because they're little, they're not developmentally ready to type yet. He asked them to record themselves explaining why that was their choice. And so I just thought this was such a powerful example. And he even, if you go back to, he created a little tour guide on that first page and kind of disguised his voice and recorded it in like a fun little way there. And so it's just really fun and engaging for the students. It still very educational for them, very interactive. And then again, you're getting that student voice from everybody in the room.
Right. Awesome. All right. And then this one is a very powerful piece when it comes to notebooks and portfolios, is being able to give students feedback. All right. And I always tease people too. I was like, the better feedback you give, the better work the kids are going to do, and the better work they do, the more fun you're going to have grading it anyway. So it's kind of like a win-win for everybody. But Catherine, tell us about what you've got here.
Yes, in this book, if you want to also click on the pages view, you're going to see the students pause after every part of the learning journey, and they're able to reflect on that. And that's a great place for you to give feedback and check their work as well. And then at the end, the teacher includes an exit ticket, which I think is a great way for you as the educator can just go back to pages 20, 21 and leave feedback and see, did they actually grasp this content? And then John will show you how you can actually leave comments and feedback right within Book Creator inside these books when they're in edit mode. And then you can also leave feedback using audio, video. You can even translate feedback. But that's a really important part of that learning journey, is to also give the students feedback.
Absolutely. So up here at the top right of our page, if for those of you that have used Book Creator, maybe haven't used it recently, it used to be down on the bottom right, but we realized it was a little hard to see sometimes, and sometimes like our support button covered it up, and it was not a great place. So we've moved it, and now here at the top, there's a little speech bubble in a circle, and that allows you to give that feedback to your students. And so you can click Add Comment, and you can give feedback as text, video, audio, emojis, Giphies, animated emojis, and stickers, which is great. And again, the more feedback you give, the better everything is going to be in the long run. Be specific, help your students out, and give them some good advice. And if you have kids who are younger and they don't have an opportunity to be able to read all of the text that you do, that's when the video and the audio really comes in. And I'm going to steal this one from Janet too. I know Janet used to say this a lot. But what's also very powerful about this is a major time saver for teachers. If you have, especially high school teachers, you have 150 kids throughout the day, and you don't want to have to type out 150 comments for every single kid, then hit the audio button, just speak your mind, hit submit, and that's it, right? And it goes right here on the side of the page, and the students can see it, right? And if they do something really good, you can just post something right over here as like a little Giphy or whatever. Fantastic. So I love the feedback option. All right, moving right along, and we are getting close to the end of our time. So I know that I can't believe how fast like 30 minutes actually is until you like get in there and you realize that, wow, it's quick. I love this. I think one of the most important pieces of all of this is trying to make sure that their parents are kept in the loop. And I know that there are various ways that parents are informed about things that happen in schools nowadays, but in the past, it wasn't always that easy, right? And a lot of times parents just didn't really know what was going on. And so Catherine, this is one of Catherine's examples here, but you can certainly keep parents in the loop by publishing the books and sending those links home to parents, so that every time a student updates something, or every time a student does something that they're proud of and they want to share, we can give that link to a parent and they can view that. So Catherine, you want to give a little explanation of Shoshana's journey here?
Yeah, I'll do this really quick. So this was from a school district who had a Lego camp over the summer. And so to engage the parents of what the students were actually doing, they added Book Creator as that literacy component of the camp. So each student had their own science notebook to reflect on each piece of Lego, each Lego that they created. Some were like rocket launchers and delivery carts, and they included videos. They made it all multimedia rich. But the best part of this is that they shared it with the parents. And the parents even said the students, when they came home, wanted to continue working on their science notebooks, which I think really shows you how powerful Book Creator can be.
Absolutely. I think that's, to me, that's like the golden ticket right there, right? Like that's the touchdown moment for teachers, when you are done with whatever lesson you're done with, and you have to like look at your library and you realize that kids are still doing things, right? Like they're still wanting to keep doing more. Nobody ever wants to stop that, right? Like I think that's really powerful. All right, so now we're going to kind of close things out. We do have a couple of pages here of tips and tricks. This goes to Maria's question. Yes, you can actually assign books. So if you were to create, like this example right here, the science notebook, if you were to create a notebook for your students, all right, and set it all up and get it just the way you want, you can actually click the button underneath the book and say assign book. And what that's going to do is it's going to assign that book to every student in your class. So as soon as they join your library, they get their own copy so that they can then edit their copy and have it personalized, but it doesn't mess up your original and it doesn't mess up anybody else's, right? So I love that assignment feature. Now to kind of piggyback on that, and Janet can stop me if she wants, because I think that might have been her example. But the other thing that's really cool is not only can you give kids a copy that they can work in, you can actually send pages to the students whenever you want. So if you are afraid that they're going to try to jump ahead and answer, all 40 pages ahead of time, then you can make a book that's only a few pages. And when you're ready, you can click the pages view, hit select, and you can push out pages by copying those pages directly into another library, into whatever books you want. And so now you can always have that updated for your students, all right, which I think is tremendous. All right. I think that's one of my favorite kind of like, it's not necessarily a hidden feature, but it's a feature that I don't think we talk about a whole lot, unless people specifically ask, but I love that feature. And then the last one I think is really important in terms of both parent communication and keeping them updated, but also for students, all right? And that has to be our brand new translation feature. And so we're going to give you like the Cliff Notes version of translations here. Catherine, Janet, I'm gonna lean on one of you. So who wants to take this? But sometimes, especially now, one of the hardest parts about teaching is the fact that we have lots of students who are coming into our classrooms who don't speak the same language as everybody else. So what can we do to address that?
What I like about this example right here on that page is it shows that it's a digital portfolio, and there's a Spanish page and an English page. So that has been translated, which you can do directly in Book Creator. So you can translate templates as a whole book. You can translate audio, which John can show you really quickly, audio and video recordings, as well as comments and text. So there's so many different ways, but my favorite way is just to translate that entire book. If you created a template like they did in this digital portfolio, so that there's multiple languages on on different pages, or you could actually differentiate and send out different versions of the book to your students.
Absolutely. So you simply click on the book button underneath your book, hit translate, and it's going to translate that entire book all in one shot. And as Catherine mentioned, under the plus button and record, I can record my voice, gives me that little countdown. The boy walked to the park to play basketball. I use that recording. It's going to recognize that that recording is English. And when I click translate, because it's English, it's going to have me generate some English text. Now, if I recorded that voice in Spanish, then I can have Spanish text, but that text is important. All right. So it's going to generate that text. It's all looks good to me. And now I choose language. I choose any of the 138 languages that we have. I choose a voice and translate, and it will make, oops, it didn't want to do it this time. It will make a new button that will have the Spanish text and the Spanish audio. And unfortunately for time, I don't want to take time to do that again, but when you click the play button, it'll actually speak in Spanish and it sounds like a real person, right? So that's really cool. Got a little bit of AI on the back end getting thrown in there so that your teachers and students can really do some amazing things with translations. Now, we do have an official portfolio feature that I just want to talk about briefly. I'm not going to go into a full demonstration of this due to the time. But if you are on a district subscription, all right, with us, we do have a portfolio feature that allows the books then to follow students K through 12. All right, right now, books follow libraries, books follow teachers, but they don't follow the student. And so with our portfolio option for our district customers, then we do have that ability. So if you are a district customer of ours and you did not know that, reach out to your district admin who's in charge of your book creator licenses and have them get in touch with me or Janet and Catherine, and we'll be more than happy to talk about that portfolio feature and get everybody on board. We went over a little bit in time. I will take a look at some of these questions in case we haven't gotten them answered. But I just want to say thank you for being here. Catherine and Janet and I really appreciate it. We hope you be safe. We hope you have a great time making books and portfolios and notebooks using Book Creator. And we would love to see what you come up with at the end. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Don't forget, the recording will be on YouTube live later today sometime or tomorrow. I don't know how fast it happens, but it'll be there. So take a look at that session. All right. Thanks everybody for being here. Have a great day. I think Maria, I got your question there. Katie, would you love to know more about how you would recommend managing books with littles, thinking specifically of whole class books where kids can co-author versus individual books? And I think that's a great question. I'm going to stop sharing just so that we can kind of talk about that. But I've done both. Personally, and I'm sure Janet and Catherine have examples here as well. But with little students, depending, if it's like the first couple of days of school, first week of school, diving right into Book Creator may not be the easiest thing right away. So that's when I might do like a whole group thing. I remember going into my daughter's kindergarten class for a career day, and I did a writing prompt book with them, but we did it all together. And it wasn't all just writing, right? So on the first page, I might say, if you were principal for the day, what would you do? And I had them record their voice. And then on the next writing prompt page, then maybe we would do speech to text and show them how they can speak and the text shows up. And then maybe by the end of the quarter or the end of the semester, they might be ready to start trying this kind of stuff on their own. And you can get away from the group stuff. Truthfully, it's probably going to happen even faster than that. But it's a really cool thing. So yeah, you can do that however you really see fit. All right. Now I like that comment. This is the best meeting ever. Thank you. I appreciate that. Keep those coming. I'm going to screenshot that one. All right. This is the best meeting ever. All right. Screenshotting. That one's going into our evaluation page for sure. So, which I forgot to show, but whatever. We're out of time. So Catherine, Janet, anything to close it out?
Thanks everybody for being here today.
Yeah, thank you. Great to see everyone. Happy
All right.
bookmaking.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. See ya. Thanks, Katie, for helping field the questions.